Our society has changed. Real estate has changed completely. The way you talk to people has changed. The way you sell, the way you buy, almost everything has changed. And I mean, kudos to them for sticking for 24 years. But I just think there's a new way to do things, a new generation. And I remember when I first started, there was so much hate about Gen Z and millennials, like taking on social media and Instagram. And like, look, they dress in that way and they go in front of the camera. They think they can sell. Well, yeah, that's how I get like 45% of my business is Instagram. Right. And that is how I sell. And it's just using what I know. And that is the prospecting I chose to do.
Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast. Today's guest has not even been an agent for 2 years, but is making waves. She has a background in marketing in her previous career. Her production has simply trended up for 18 months. She has been in the business, climaxing with 5 units sold in September. She'll correct me if that is wrong. She has had a great start to her real estate career, and today we will find out what this amazing real estate agent is doing. Let's welcome from Damascus, Syria, and now calls Jacksonville home, Natali Zaher to the show.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm glad you came on. Like I said, you came on my radar the other day when I was talking to Christine Herron, and I was just looking at, who's doing what at Herron Real Estate, and boom, I'm like, whoa, those are some serious numbers. When you jumped into real estate, we'll find out how or why in a little bit, but did you ever see yourself at this level already and having this success so soon?
So soon, no. Did I see myself as successful? Absolutely. I actually had a goal, and I hit a goal and a half this year, which I'm so grateful for. But I did not expect this at all. Like, at one point, I looked at my mom. I was like, Mama, whoa, what is my life?
Well, one of the challenges, because you're at that production level, actually sort of beyond, if I can't claim my number reporting system is perfect, but it gives me a great idea. You've gone beyond what a lot of agents start to reach that lid where they start to need help. Are you still doing everything yourself, or are you getting some assistance?
I do have a TC, a transaction coordinator. I have some buyer's agents, so I do have a coach. So no, not by myself.
Okay.
I thought I could do it by myself, and then I started doing more and more by myself, and I realized I could not do it by myself. Right.
Now, the buyer's agents you got working with you, are they just other Herron agents that are just, when you need them, call on them type of thing?
Yes. Yeah. Like, can you show houses for me, or do you want to, or sometimes I even give them the buyer the lead and tell them, just please, we'll split it and you do the work. And that has worked very well for me.
Good. It's so important, is one of the important topics we talk about all the time on the show is finding the right brokerage.
Right.
So we'll dig into that in a little bit. I want to take a 30-second commercial break, though, so I get this out of the way so I don't forget. RemyGraphics.com do these great, as if you see their logo, got the show logo. You have a nice hot pink one in your bag there for you, but they'll do these laser engraved gifts, and she'll do one-offs. So if you want to, whether it's a mug or any of the other things you want to put, John and Sally, welcome to St. Augustine. There you go.
With my logo, can I do that?
Yeah, they'll put your logos on there, obviously.
That's cute.
I always think the more unique, or like I said, if you have your logo on one side and put their names on the other, they'll never throw that away.
Right.
So Remy Graphics, check out that, RemyGraphics.com. Thank you, Remy Graphics, for the mug. They have many other laser engraved gifts, so please check their website out. All right. I'm reading your bio there. You live in Damascus till you're about 9.
Yes.
What brings your family to the States at that time?
Our future, education, jobs. Syria was corrupt, and so my family, along with many other Syrian families, migrated to America ages ago. My family just so happened to migrate in 2006, and I moved here. My dad was already moved here in 2003. And then,
so I've had somebody on it. I try to remember. I think it was someone. They're going to come to me, but from Cuba. So Dad goes in advance gets through the immigration part. Does he become a citizen? Then he's able to bring you guys over.
As soon as he gets through the visa process and then gets his green card, then he can bring us as long as we're under 18.
Okay.
So he was able to bring my sister and I, because we were under 18, but was not able to bring my mom. And at the time they split, so he had no relation by law with my mom other than the mother of his children. So then in 2012, my mom came because she had papers done by her sister like 13 years prior to that.
Good.
It's a whole.
And Mom came here to be close with you guys.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And yeah, we've been here ever since.
So tell us a little bit, because it's just a curiosity for me. When I traveled to other countries, to, what is America? What is the United States to them, right? Because I think, would you agree, many Americans undervalue a lot of things we have here?
Yes, it is to everyone all around the world. I have been all over the world, and to absolutely everyone I've talked to, America is the land of opportunities.
Yeah.
So everyone does understand that. I think people in America don't realize the privilege we have as Americans. Something as simple as having a passport, that just speaks volume to people outside of America, and we don't notice how blessed we are just for something
to travel freely.
Yeah,
if we want to go on vacation wherever, as long as, I guess the State Department doesn't say it's a bad area, we can go.
For something as simple as being able to eat a Kit Kat. In Syria, we're not allowed to import Kit Kats, Twix, and anything that is foreign. We're not allowed to import it. We can't even use credit cards. Everything is cash. So we take the little things for granted. We don't even have electricity, water, gas, nothing.
Reliable.
Any resources that are needed for daily life, we don't have as much as we do in America. There's ways to get them, but they are way beyond what people make a month even.
Interesting. So as a 9-year-old, from a schooling standpoint, where, do you remember the transition of coming in? Now, did you know English well at the time?
No, absolutely
Didn't know English at all.
No, I came and I sat in history class and I would cry. And my teacher was Egyptian. And I already don't understand Egyptian because they have a whole different dialect than us. But a little bit he would understand me. Right. And my dad's like, how do you not understand? I'm like, Dad, I only know math because it's numbers.
Right.
And I couldn't understand. But I was young, so it's very easy to catch on when you're younger. I learned English in like 5 months. Right.
You got some extra tutoring and obviously, I assume, or something to help you conquer that curve of learning the language?
Yeah. I definitely had to expand my horizons to learn English.
So, all right, so you're transitioning 9 and 10, you're learning the language. How did you feel by the time you graduated from high school?
Accomplished. Definitely. I played sports throughout middle school and high school, and that kind of was like...
Helped you?
It helped me a lot, actually, and it was kind of my outlet. During those times, and my not living with my mom, and then my mom migrating to America, and then separating from my dad, and it was just big thing in the household. And I'm an open book. I don't mind sharing any of it, but I think soccer was my outlet, and then essentially volleyball became a thing, and that was my foreign language, my third language.
Right.
So when I graduated high school, I was like, oh my gosh, what? I don't have sports, because I didn't go play beyond high school.
Right.
So then I went to UNF, and that changed my life completely.
Tell us about that. What was unique about UNF that you just enjoyed?
Everything. I started traveling when I went to UNF. I did a study abroad in Spain, and it was 6 to 9 months, and that was life-changing. Yeah. So I think traveling, definitely sports, all that helped me.
Would you recommend to a lot of young people that are going to college, if they have the opportunity to take a semester abroad?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It taught me everything about myself, about school, about social skills. I won't lie to you. I have 3 degrees, and I learned nothing in school except social skills. Right. My social skills, everything, my communication, my responsibilities, how I go about my routine, my day-to-day life, I learned in college. Because that age between 18 and 22 is very crucial for your growth as a woman or man. It's kind of like you're beginning to your adult life. And so when you're in college, you kind of just are hit with everything. Yeah. Whether it's friendship breakups or relationship breakups or traveling or being alone.
Well, did you feel, you still, from the language, cultural challenge, but now you've been in the country 9 years at that point, 10 years. Did you still have some challenges from the language and cultural as you going into college and dealing with that? That's still on your mind, I guess, or were you basically Americanized by that point?
No, I'm Arab before I'm ever American. My culture is instilled in me. My mom doesn't speak English. Okay. And my dad barely speaks English, so I'm Syrian first, then I'm American. I do call America home. I had challenges in a way where I had to kind of get my parents to adjust to the way we live here. And I feel like that's a lot of millennials / Gen Zers. We have to like get our parents to adapt to how today's society is, given social media and all the innovations.
Right.
So that was my challenge, like getting my mom to understand how life in America is, and like kind of give me a little bit of a leeway and freedom, because I'm able to do things here that I can't do in Syria.
As a woman.
As a woman.
Right.
As a human in general.
Right. Right. All right. So you have some different jobs coming out of UNF that you're taking. From what I could tell on the LinkedIn, a lot of them had to do, marketing was part of their title. Just kind of cover a little bit about what those type of jobs, what kind of assignments you kind of had, projects or whatever, what you were doing. And because I want to twist that in, because I think it's so important, especially when someone's come from a previous career, whether they've been doing it for 3 or 4 years or doing it for 20 years, but how they've taken that and now apply it into their real estate.
Actually, my marketing experience, not very real estate related, because I got my MBA I specialized in logistics, transportation, imports, exports. So I worked for expediters, and I was more of a sales rep there. And that kind of translates to real estate too. After that, I did some marketing for Take Stock in Children, and I think that part changed my life. Take Stock in Children is a nonprofit organization that helps students, first-gen students, go through middle school, high school, college, and that changed my life. I was in Take Stock in Children in 7th grade. I had a coach guide me throughout all of middle school and high school, and even college. And till this day, like, I still call him, he's like my second dad. He is one of the best people I know. And so I worked for them after college, after Expeditors, and I was basically guiding college students throughout their college experience, and only students that were in Take Stock in Children prior to college.
So why would someone what kind of student joins this organization? Or
first gen minorities, basically. So I was Arab, low income family, and I mean, I am Arab, and I was in 7th grade, so it fit the criteria, and you have to uphold a certain GPA, and I was a nerd. And then I worked for them, and I had the opportunity to help others. And believe it or not, like, some of those students are now my buyers, which is crazy.
Well, you're creating a relationship, and obviously the bond. I mean, you gave them value somewhere in their life right there. Yeah.
And that's where I measure my success, is that these students that came from minorities, first gen students that go to college, are now buying houses at 24, 25. And I'm like, how? Like, that's my purpose here.
Right. So they doing everything from tutoring to social acceptance, getting acclimated, basically.
It's literally like counseling. Like, we just sit and talk, like, how are your classes? Do you have any problems? Like, a lot of them reach out to me for relationship problems, or like family problems, or I need books, or I need money for this, and then we find scholarships for them. That was actually very touching job. I loved it. I love social work in general, but it just wasn't cutting it.
Well, you were something that gave you something, and you were able to pay it back.
Yes, exactly. It served my purpose for sure.
Yeah.
And then I went into tutoring during COVID. Our Arabic community in general, like, the moms they're never went to college here. A lot of them, actually, a lot of parents. So they would reach out to me to help their kids private tutoring. And then I got more kids and more kids and more kids. And I'm just such a kids girl. I love kids. So the more kids I got, the more I was like, let me open a tutoring center. And then I went kind of to open a tutoring center, and I had all planned, the business plan, like hire tutors part-time, and I can do part-time. I had over like 16 kids at this point, and I couldn't go to their houses anymore.
Doing a lot of Zoom type calls.
Never Zoom, actually.
Never.
No.
Oh.
That's what added value to my job, is that I go in person.
Right.
And so that's why the moms felt comfortable, the kids felt comfortable, and I developed such a great relationship with the children, and I treasure that so much. Yeah. Till this day, they like support me, and they're so cute. And then that fell through. I was like, you know what? Let me do real estate.
So all right. So Rhonda said, what crosses in front of you that triggers this thought of, let me look into real estate?
I've always wanted to do real estate. I feel like everyone's always wanted to do real estate. That's what everyone says. And then essentially I quit Take Stock in Children, and then this tutoring center fell through, and I was like, I need something stable. And I'm kind of like the head of my household in my house, so I don't have a choice.
Well, that's a big jump, right? Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you have the entrepreneurial self-employment spirit in you.
Somewhat.
But being if you're more or less the head of the household, to jump into real estate on a commission-only basis, what gives you the confidence?
oh man, I can talk to a wall. And I did not realize I have this much confidence when I started. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Right.
Until people started telling me, you're so confident. And I'm like, I am? And then I realized I am confident.
Yeah.
And I take that in the most humble way. And I say it in the most humble way possible. I have the ability to talk to anyone. I'm not afraid to talk to people. And that is very crucial in this industry. I don't need you to buy from me, to be honest. I just, if you like me, that's enough.
Does your confidence come from the fact that you came to this country, didn't know the language, right? You had to overcome some obstacles to succeed. And the fact that as a young person, you've had some successes, whether or not you consciously are thinking about going back, oh, I graduated from high school, I should feel good. It's just you accomplished them. And each of those things were steps in your just natural
Existence.
portray or just your presence in front of people.
Right.
Is I've done this stuff. I came here, I didn't even know how to speak the language, and now I'm graduate from your high school, and just these things you've accomplished in your life. I would imagine, as someone who's grown up here, I've lived here my entire life. I don't know how many generations. I don't know even how far my parents ever went back in the genealogy, but obviously we've been American. So it's just we don't even think about it. Like we were talking about earlier, you actually had to think about it. You had to the cultural differences and learn those things and realize personally, I don't know if this is true or not, the fact that as a woman, you really didn't have a lot of power or things, where here the door's wide open. You can do whatever you want. And you see that door wide open and you're going for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think my confidence stems from zero fear of rejection.
Yeah.
I don't care if you say no. It's no until it's a yes.
Yeah.
You're going to say no now, but why?
Right.
When you tell me your why, we're going to change those. Like you tell me why no, and then we'll take those reasons and make them better, and then it'll be a yes.
Well, because you have a sense right through that is, well, maybe they're no to this particular house or something, but they're not no to Natali.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to buy a house with Natali.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone wants to sell with Natali. Everything, one of my clients told me, everything I touch gets sold. and like they made me a whole mug about it, and it was a flask. It was really cute.
That's cool.
But no, I say that with all humbleness, and I think that is very important to always remember that. Essentially, I started somewhere too, and I always remember where I came from. I always remember my roots. I always remember that my success does not measure who I am, but how I react to it does. And that's very crucial in this industry because people get cocky, forget to be humble.
Have you ever seen this book?
I have not. The Power of Passion and Perseverance.
Okay, so she studied what grit is.
Okay.
The power of passion and perseverance. Grit meaning you struggled and you've gotten through it. You needed to learn the language, you did it, right? And I'm sure there's other things in your life. But so I'm creating a talk about this based on my conversations with a lot of the great agents, because I don't know any of them that don't have grit. Some of them, their stories show they have greater grit than possibly others, just because you've gone through bigger obstacles than others, right? I stayed true to it. So my little thing is, I call it in my talk, is I'm going to help you create your LLC, not your limited liability company. But I believe that people with grit there's some passion, a love in what they're doing. So they're sticking to it, right? And then there's a little bit of laughter when you get kicked in the face or someone said no to you or that kind of thing. And then obviously the fourth thing, the C, being consistency. You're doing something consistent.
Right.
You keep doing it and keep doing it and keep swinging the axe until the tree falls, right?
Right.
So I'm going to turn that into some question for you. If you can, I didn't prep you for this, but in the LLC part, the love, what have you found that you love about real estate that just, when you get up in the morning, you're like, hey, I get to go work with somebody, what is it that you just love doing in real estate?
Reactions is what I love. I love when I see buyers go into a house and say, this is it. And I see it. See, like, you can see it after a while. Like, you go into a house and like, and then they go into another one, and then the one they love.
I found it.
I'm not kidding. One of my best friends even did it. He parked in the driveway and he was like, this is my house. And I was like, oh.
Hadn't even seen the inside yet.
No, he just parked in the driveway.
Yeah.
I had it actually last weekend too. They walked in the house and they were like, this is it. This is it. This is everything we dreamed of. And that part is beyond what I can explain to people. Like, watching my friends that are between 20 and 30 years old living the American dream as Arabs coming to America with immigrant parents, and then buying a house, having an asset. This is what they work their whole lives for. That is like, I'm proud. I'm so proud.
In Syria, how does explain the part in Syria? What I mean, are they able to buy real estate, or how does it? What's the typical situation? Because obviously this means a lot to you. Yeah. So explain it to our listeners why it means a lot.
It's a third world country, essentially. Like, everything is grandfathered in. So, and we come from a village. One side of my family comes from a village, the other side from a city. And both areas, it's so hard to buy real estate. Like, ancestors own lands and like farms and stuff like that. And so those are passed down to generations. But if you translate that to dollars, it's nothing.
So in a lot of situations, they never actually own it. You're living on your uncle's land or your grandfather's land.
And like, it's passed down. Or like, a lot of our parents do own land and they essentially live from it. But they keep it because once you sell it and it translates to dollars, you convert the currency. It doesn't. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth selling it. Just keep the asset.
Well, I mean, have you seen like the unique thing here was going on, obviously, when interest rates were lower, where people were moving from community to community locally because the rates were low. They're like, oh, they're 3%, so we can just move over here. We're closer to our friends.
Exactly,
we like the amenities over there.
We're not losing anything.
That doesn't happen in Syria.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, absolutely not. There. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even know how the loan process works in Syria. It's just hard money for sure, but who gives it to who or how, I'm not even sure. Real estate is not big, and it's not a thing in Syria like it is in Dubai, or it's in other countries and cities in the Middle East.
Well, because, one, there's limited amount, right? And
we're not developing. There's a war.
Yeah, these things are going on, and there's, like you said, the families have lived there for hundreds of years. Here in the United States, my dad was born in New York. My mom was born in Tennessee. We lived I grew up in Massachusetts. Of course, my parents are here now, but they ended up moving to Florida. I go to school in South Carolina. I mean, we just have that freedom. Like I said, most Americans take for granted, don't understand what we actually have here. Yeah. If I want to live in the mountains, I go move to the mountains. If I want to live near the beach, I get as close as I can. Close as I can afford. Right?
Oh, no, in Syria is where are we going to live that we're not going to get bombed in.
Yeah.
That's the privilege they have there. Like, oh, let's go to city because Israel doesn't bomb there. Not to get political.
Yeah. So that's your love. All right. Now, you've only been doing it for 18 months. So I don't know if you've had this. I mean, a little more than 18. I think it said a year, 9 months. Or something. Is that, am I right?
It's a year and a half.
Year and a half?
The way you say it is like I'm a child. Like,
no, 18 months
4 days and 3 hours.
Well, the laughter, and I use this, and I may change this term in my talk because I've been talking about. To me, when I'm challenged or when I feel, God throws at me an obstacle, right? I now, in maturity of my life, I actually laugh a little bit. It might be internally, but like I'm laughing like, okay, all right, what are you trying to tell me today, right? What direction are you trying to direct me? What is it that, you made me forget to do this, or whatever obstacle that comes up, big or small in our lives. In real estate, imagine when you got started, everything wasn't perfect. I mean, but I mean, you ramped up quickly, but there had to be a day or two there where you're like, am I doing the right thing? Have you had that? I know you've had pretty good success, but
I never doubted it.
You never doubted it.
But maybe I'm too new to doubt it. I don't know.
Well, I was thinking about this question and asking you, and if because you've only been doing it for a year and a half, have you had? But there had to be something, like when the first no that you had. I mean, or maybe a hostile client were like, you're like, oh, I'm being tested, right? And just kind of laugh through it. Have you had a situation like that?
There's this thing that I have, it's this theory I have that literally everything happens, all bad things happen in threes in real estate. Mm-hmm. So every time,
that's true in life, but
yeah, but in real estate, every time one bad thing happens, two more happen. And it's just, the first time it happened was last April, actually. I had a client, I was selling a house, and then I found the buyer, and like the seller just needed to get out of that house. He could not afford it, and my buyer was cash. Let's go.
Right.
Like last minute, it
perfect situation.
Last minute, he just like, I cannot put the money in right now, and it falls through, and that was like my first like punch in the face. And then that same day, my client, I was under contract for like a new construction, and my client was like, actually, no, I don't like the house that's on the street, or like it's on the corner lot.
Right.
She didn't like the lot it was on. She's like, I need to back out. And then like, I am fighting for my life and her deposits.
Yeah.
And then the third thing was some other deal fell through, and it was an off-market deal. And I was like, it was a wholesale deal, and wholesale deals, I don't know if you know, but is a lot of money. And it's not even the money I'm worried about. It's the fact that I worked so hard for this deal and it fell through. And that was just like 3 punches. I literally went to
within like a day,
like 20, not even 12 hours.
Oh, wow.
I was like, what, who eyed me today? Like,
yeah.
I went to the river in San Marco and I cried. And now I look at it and I'm like,
now you're laughing.
like, are you kidding me? I cried over people and deals.
Right.
But
that's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah, but that's like
question.
a rookie thing you do. Like, you cry over a deal falling through.
Well, even the most experienced agent is going to have some emotion, especially in 12 hours, to have, because I think people underestimate agents, or not underestimate, the work you put in to get that buyer and seller where you think you're at the goal line. You think about it, you're ready to score.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like you said, the guy, the markets have changed. I don't want to put that kind of money out right now.
Can I tell you something? You know, the whole cliche, one door closes, another opens, or whatever that stuff is. As soon as these happen, the next week, I got a birthday deal, the seller and the buyer, and 1.4 million volume. And that was God. I'm not kidding. That was God. I prayed for that.
Yeah.
And so, like, now every time something bad happens, I'm like, yes, something better is coming. Let's go.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's grit. That's great. He's lining something. I mean, no, I'm taking away the faith part of it. That's 100% part of it. But I do, because I feel he, like you said, he closes one door to direct us to another door that's better for us or the people that we're influencing, whatever you want to look at it. But that's grit. All right, so
I should read that.
Yeah, it's very good, actually. Yeah, I've listened to Audible. I bought the book because I'm going to do the talk, and I wanted to be able to look at the actual pages because she's got quotes and things in there. So I want to be able to actually read it and pull some of her things from it. Consistency. What is and this may be still evolving, which I think a lot of the things you're doing now, who know, in 2 years you might be doing, depending on the market, might be doing totally different things, marketing, whatever type of stuff. What are you doing though consistently that you think is continued to, because when you look at your numbers, you're just slowly ramping up.
Yeah, I hate that question. Sorry, but everybody asks
you don't even know what you're doing.
Thank you. I cannot tell you, and I say this with everything humble, how many times I get DMs or texts or phone calls, Natali, what are you doing? Can you help me?
Right.
And I'm like, I would love to help you. I don't know. I sat there and I tried to like dig deep in my brain and what I do daily. I just talk to people. I talk to anyone and anything, and I don't even have to talk about real estate. Like, let's just have a conversation.
Right.
And I love listening to people's stories. Like, I feed off people's energies, which is and even if it's negative energy, I find the positive in that energy and feed off of it. Or like, I go home and I pray for them because they have such a negative energy. Like, whatever it is, I feed off people one way or another. So just talking to people, I have decided like I need 2 ways to prospect and I need to focus on them because that's what I was told. So I was like, okay, social media and my sphere. But essentially they're like one and the same because my sphere sees me on Snapchat, on Instagram, on Facebook. So that's kind of social media. I kind of learned what my sphere likes. I come from a very big Arab community and we tend to stick to our people. Some people don't, but I kind of use that to my advantage because they're going to trust, they're going to want to help the ones that do care. They would rather help their people than a stranger, the outsider. So I kind of use that to my advantage. I know what they like. They like houses in San Jose.
You've had to earn the trust, though. Don't discount what you've done, though.
I had to.
They gave you the opportunity.
Let me tell you, my first month in real estate, one of my close friends looked at me in front of a group of people. I hope he doesn't watch this. In front of a group of people, and says, "Of course, I'm buying a house with XYZ because you're a rookie." As soon as he said that, I was like, "We look at the same houses on the market." And he's like, "Yeah, but you're new. She's not." I was like, "Okay, watch me." And then that always sticks in my head. Like, love him to death. But
so he used someone else because he felt they were more experienced.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, and he got a great deal and a great house, and like whoever he used was amazing too. Right. Love that lady.
Right.
So I didn't like envy him. I took it the opposite. Like, thank you for pushing me because I need someone to tell me like, "Oh, we're not using you because we don't trust you." And then it took one person from that community to trust me. And from then on, it just one after another, and like for very good reasons, because had I done a bad job of the first one, then
well, something has to be happening from the standpoint. We talked about your Arab community, and we can get more in details of it, which anyone can do in their circle of influence.
right.
I think obviously some bonds are better than others. I mean, just because you live in a community doesn't mean you're bonded, but because
Agreed.
you all came from Syria and you have that bond, you've treaded over the same turf, where
Right.
the
the
cultural, that kind of thing goes on. It might be a little bit stronger than others. So, but that only gets you in the door. Once you screw something up, you could spoil the whole basket because all of a sudden someone goes, "Oh my God, that Natali, stay away from her. That's a train wreck."
Yeah.
You've had to earn that. And obviously these people are giving you glowing reviews or obviously talking within the community. Have you, because this is going on behind the scenes. Have you used Natali? Right? You got to use Natali. Have you used her? Yeah, I've used her. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Then I'm going to use her.
You're making me analyze now. I do. You're right.
It goes beyond everybody's back, right? They're not just going, oh, Natalie's from Damascus. I'm from Damascus. I'm going to use her. They're like, okay, she's from Damascus. I'll talk to her. But you've earned that. Now you actually have to show yourself.
To me, it's simple, but to others, and what I've heard is I do go above and beyond for my clients. Mind you, I work 24 hours. Like I'm telling you, someone texts me at 1 a.m., I'm working at 1 a.m. My clients want me up at 8 a.m.
That's the love and the passion that you have now.
And I never dread one bit of it. I never was a morning person. I don't dread working at all. If I'm going to show...
Is that why we had to start at 11:30 today instead of 10?
No, I had a meeting at 10. 10 is early. I'm like, 10 o'clock, I'm meeting. Okay, fine. But I do go above and beyond. I answer texts like this.
Right.
I answer emails. I treat a $100,000 deal like I treat $2 million deal, because essentially the person who is putting in $100,000 is everything they have, and the person who's putting in $2 million, that's also everything they have. So to them it's big deals, and to me it's a big deal.
So let's take that and let's turn it in, because obviously you had to learn how to do what you do as a real estate agent, right? So you go and you say, hey, I'm going to get into real estate. Did you go talk to someone, or did you just go find some place to take the course?
I'm not lying to you. I would talk to people in Canada, talk to mortgage
No.
brokers
I'm talking from you're now. I'm going back in time. Yeah, you say, hey, I'm going to go into real estate. Did you just go find where you're going to take the test, or where you're going to take the course, or did you talk to some real estate agents?
Yeah, I messaged one of my real estate friends from like high school. I used to play soccer with him, and I was like, "Where did you take your test?" He said Watson. I was like, "Okay." So I did it online. I failed my test 6 times. 6 times I failed the test because I hate studying. I hate books. I just don't believe that they get me anywhere. Not reading books, but like studying books, memorizing, and it didn't. I didn't learn anything from the course. Even though whatever. So I did pass it the 7th time, and it measured no excellence in my career.
All right, so you go to Watson. They're obviously trying to recruit you, because that's what they do.
I did online. It was like COVID
So you
times.
stayed. Oh, okay, so you stayed out. So what you need to find out where you want to hang your sign, right? I mean, where you're going to hang your business, your business at. Where do you find out that information? What do you do?
One of my friends, one of my tutoring gigs, I was tutoring the child, and her cousin looks at me and she's like, Natali, did you start real estate yet? She'd already like kind of put in a word for Herron.
Oh,
and I was
okay.
like, no, I have so much going on. And she's like, come with me to showings tomorrow. I was like, yeah. And she's like, come with me. So we get up, we go to Tamaya the next day. That was in February. She's like, what do you think? I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. What do you mean you just walk around pretty houses all day? And yeah, they don't tell you go to Moncrief too. We're in Tamaya. Of course I love it. And she knew what to do.
Have you had that house yet where you're going to do an open house and you go in there and it's like, it's not even clean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's not clean. It just smells like dogs.
Yeah.
And no, now I keep candles in my car actually, because it's very helpful.
Right. All right. So you have this friend, and obviously she takes you out, which is great. Takes you over to Herron. What was it about Herron? Did you even look at any other brokerage, or you just like? I
looked at Keller.
You looked at Keller
Williams, and they wanted an arm and a leg, and I was like, I don't have money. I'm not giving you 30% of nothing. Like, so when I went to Herron, they showed me the numbers, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, I'm just starting, and why not? I was very hesitant about it being a smaller brokerage, because I'm like, what if I don't learn? What about the training?
Right.
Turns out, because it's a smaller brokerage, they have more attention on you. It's like it's like putting your child in a small elementary school. Like the teacher's always paying attention to you.
Right. Classroom size, small, 10, 12 students or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the 206th person. Now we're at like 500 something.
Christine told me that they're pushing 600.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I liked it because I was able to pick up a phone and be like, hey, David, what do I do? Or like, hey, Annette, what do I do? Or like, I would literally just ask anyone, everyone. I was not afraid. I don't know something, I'm Googling, I'm YouTubing, I'm on Instagram, DMing people like, hey, do you know how to do this? And nobody will ever tell you no. If you tell them, I'm just starting, can you please help me?
Right.
Nobody. And I've never had a no, actually. I don't even know what to do if they say
no. It's a unique structure over there. And I've told them numerous times. I've put that out in other people that have had it on from here. It's a unique structure that they have over there, the way they have the 6 owners, but most of the owners have it's sweat equity that they put in. And the sweat equity is what you're getting from them, the value that they're pouring in, being available, doing the trainings that kind of bring value into the brokerage. Because if anyone's going to stay at a brokerage, it's because they're giving them value at some point. If they're not giving value, you're going to look at somewhere else.
Yes and no, because at the end of the day, it's not the brokerage that makes you. As an agent, your brokerage does not make you. Being in a healthy environment, yes, I agree, but let's be real.
Well, that's a good way to put it. Healthy environment. I like that.
I go to that office once a month. So like realistically, the office does not really matter. The brokerage does not matter as much as the people in it. As long as I'm getting the help I need, I'm getting the training I need, I'm staying.
You're a go-getter. You're not, like you said before, you don't accept no.
No.
So nothing is going to stop Natali. Not everyone has that. Not everyone has that grit that we were just talking about, right?
I don't think that's true. I think everyone has it.
Everyone has a level of grit, but when 80% of the agents who sign up don't renew within 2 years, many are out within a couple of months. I personally believe, because that's why I always bring it up on the show, the brokerage and why, the value of Herron in this case. They go to the wrong brokerage and there's no one there to like, so what's the next step? You were looking for the next step. You're like, I'm going to find the next step. I'm going to take the next step. It might be the wrong step, but I'm going to take it anyway to move forward. You're going to move forward. You're going to battle through it. Others, not everyone has that, especially coming from corporate America after so many years. Like they walk in the office and everyone's doing their thing. You got to do your thing, figure out what your thing is and go do it. And not everyone clicks quite that way with it. You may not see it as much because you're not in the office, but if you were in the office a lot, you probably would see why some agents stick and some agents fall out.
I just think we were like trained our whole lives in America to be in a structured routine. And that's actually why I went back to get my MBA, because I finished my bachelor's and I was like, what do I do? Like,
what do I do? Go take more schooling, right?
So let me go back to what I know, school.
Yeah.
That's all I know is how to go to school, how to go to the gym, and like those things I know. I don't know how to find my passion and go after it. They don't teach you how to pay your taxes in college.
No.
They don't teach you how to open a bank account or an LLC, or they don't teach you anything about relevant like life activities, daily activities. They teach you how to do Y equals MX plus B. Like, I
hope that your kids will probably be hopefully the generation, because there's so much out there, online, YouTube, whatever. There's people that are learning high-paying skills without actually going beyond high school.
Oh my goodness.
And whether it could be editing, videos, whatever it is, there's jobs out there that someone, again, is consistent, likes doing it. They're going to trudge through it, and they can do it on the side if they want to while they're doing a 9-to-5 job, and then boom, they're going to be out there on their own. And I really do hope the online world really takes and pushes. I think there's too much emphasis on college, and then people go into a large amount of debt and so forth doing it. It's just not worth it. It's now a 4-year period of maturity, if you call it that. They're not 18, they're now 22 coming into the workforce. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And also, I have 3 investors one is 20 and the other 2 are 21. And they're consistently buying houses and flipping them. And they're not even using their own money. There's so many ways to become successful.
They're go-getters. They're out there finding it. And they took some time. All that stuff's online. You can learn how to do that. If you sit there and watch the videos and listen to the podcast, like Bigger Pockets and so forth.
Coaches. And I think it's a Gen Z thing too. Nobody wants to work for anybody. Now, like this upcoming generation, they all just want their own businesses. They want to be rich. They want to be.
I look at some, I'm envious of some of the people who, they go they're living out at the beach or whatever. They like to go surfing, and then they go back and they create their app or whatever they're doing, that little thing that they can do online. And, there was a company here that I was using for the show for years, really 3 years. And they're like, oh, we don't want to do it. And what they found is what they were doing, the guy working from home in the Philippines does actually a better job for me now, and I pay half as much, and it's because of what they're doing with the technology, with the AI and everything out now, editing the videos or cutting the reels, which will come up on Instagram of you and so forth.
Right.
Those are being cut by AI. They're going in and it's already figuring out what you're saying, and that's a good reel.
All right.
Yeah. So it's made that job, someone who's getting paid highly for that. Now they got to learn something bigger and better.
Right.
What's the next thing out? Right. So I hope that really changes in the next generation as far as the kids go.
I certainly will. I think it certainly will.
Mentors. You had this particular woman that obviously led you to Herron. Was she a mentor? Did you team up with somebody or somebody over there that became a go-to person?
We have a mentorship
or they were already
program.
Intimidated by you from the get-go, so they didn't want to.
No, honestly, I didn't believe in splitting my shares with anyone because, I just didn't believe it. And not being selfish or anything, it's just my hard-earned income, and I'm going to keep it.
Right.
So I did not choose to opt into the mentorship program, although it was very much out there and it was very pushed on to all the agents in a good way. They want to help us.
Well, you gotta retain agents, and if they're not successful,
Right.
Yeah.
And that measures the success of your brokerage, essentially. But I just chose to talk to random people you don't even know. I got to the point where I was talking to people from Selling Sunset to get information and ideas, and I can't explain to you how many people or who I talked to, people that were just beyond anything I even thought I could reach. And
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, you're answered. Okay, hello, help me. And nobody says no.
Right.
I would even when I was working a transaction, I would tell the selling agent, because I was on the buyer side mostly last year. I would tell the selling agent, hey, I'm kind of new. Please guide me through this, and we can get this deal to the closing table. And almost every single time they're like, of course, why not?
Yeah.
But you want to get the deal done, I want to get the deal done, of course. And everybody kind of wants, in a way, once you tell someone, please do me a favor and help me, everybody kind of wants that a part of your starting point, because essentially you're going to be successful and you're going to remember those people. And I remember every single one of them.
Right.
And that I'm so grateful for.
Well, did you feel the recent changes through the summer now? So you've been in it a year, and all of a sudden now we have these changes where you got to get a buyer's broker agreement.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously how you're, talking to a seller is changing. So even the person who's been sitting there for 5 years, they've got to learn some new tricks.
Yeah, I think a lot of older agents that have been in the game 24 years plus are kind of taking a step back from real estate because, one, our society has changed. Real estate has changed completely. The way you talk to people has changed. The way you sell, the way you buy, almost everything has changed. And I mean, kudos to them for sticking for 24 years. But I just think there's a new way to do things, a new generation. And I remember when I first started, there was so much hate about Gen Z and millennials, taking on social media and Instagram. And look, they dress in that way and they go in front of the camera. They think they can sell. Well, yeah, that's how I get 45% of my business is Instagram.
Right.
And that is how I sell. And it's just using what I know. And that is the prospecting I chose to do.
Well, and kind of where I was leading with that question is it's kind of leveled, I'm not going to say leveled the playing field. There's obviously people that have more experience than you in negotiating and so forth because of the situations they've had. But now those people are sitting there in the same classroom you are and learning about this buyer broker agreement because they've never done a buyer broker's agreement before, or now you're learning how other people are doing their listing agreement and how they're approaching the whole compensation thing and going on. So you've leveled that playing field, which, and throughout real estate, it's going to continue to change, different things come along, different laws, whatever, this is just the latest thing, which I think the strong will be stronger.
I agree.
As this goes on here, because there are definitely agents out there right now that haven't even done enough transactions since August 17th when the kind of thing went in, and they're not doing their listing agreements properly, and they're not doing their buyer broker agreements properly.
Anything. I want to tell you, be like, oh yeah, this huge change in real estate has happened, and I don't feel the change. Right. I don't know, maybe it's me, but
it just requires you to level up a little bit. It just required you to do a skill that you kind of probably were already doing. You just didn't get them to ink it.
It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm always honest, even if it's the ugliest truth, I'm always honest with my clients, and whether sellers or buyers or future buyers, I'm always so honest. Like, but it's just a conversation you have. And as long as people see you're genuine, which I 100% maintain genuine throughout every deal, they will trust you, and they will essentially be like, okay, fine, I'll sign a buyer broker agreement, or I'll sign a whatever you need me to sign, because I trust you. And I would never force anyone to work with me. Like, you want to cancel our broker agreement? Let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to lead you through the answer to the question of why people are asking you, what are you doing? And you're like, I don't really know. All right, so I'm going to lead you through this, and you're going to answer this question.
Okay,
so those that are listening right now,
okay,
this is why Natali is as good as she is. All right, so you've tapped into your community of Arabs. Is that the way you describe it? Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
My
How do you
sphere.
describe it?
Just my sphere, like my social media, my people, my friends, like
Your people, but our majority.
Like
Well, when you say it's like the African American Black community, there's agents that cater to that, and they are they feel they're amongst their peers, and they're trusted, and they've earned that, and so they're like, hey, 'cause people are attracted to the people who are like them,
right?
That's just natural
Right.
thing. So, but you had to earn their trust. You had to earn some credibility there. Someone gave you that first shot in the community. Do you remember who that was? Who was that?
One of my best friends.
One of your best friends.
Yeah, I grew up
Okay.
with him. He had no choice.
So you get that first transaction, but now you could say, hey, to everyone, hey, whatever this gentleman's name is, I helped him buy his house, and you start. So now you go in, and now you said you used Instagram. That's where you're getting most of your business. Well, why is that? Are you getting truly random people from Instagram, or are you getting people that are a like mind of all the friends in that circle?
I get exactly who I target.
Yeah.
I target specific audience on my social media, and that is who I get my business as my clients. I've just found, I can't explain it to you. Some one day it just clicked. Like, go do this, and then you're gonna get this.
Well, so how do you target that? Because that would be a question. I'm sure someone who's not like an Instagram pro already doing what you're doing.
Right.
When you say hey, I get who I target. How do you target someone on or Instagram? Tell us exactly who are you targeting, and what are you doing to target them?
Okay, for example, I targeted the Nepalese community. I had 5 closing.
What?
Napoleon from Nepal. Nepalese, yeah.
Okay.
From Nepal,
Nepalese.
like,
Okay. That's how I would say
so
it.
they're like close to India, like
right.
The whole community. I targeted them because my eyebrow lady, shout out Sushila, I was talking to her about real estate because I'm always on the phone over there.
Right.
And she's like, Natali, what do you do? And I was like, real estate. So one of her employees, I took him on showings, and we went to like 7 showings, and that was the beginning of real estate, and she wasn't pre-approved, but I was like, it's okay, I'm going to try. She tried to get pre-approved and did not work. So, but what did she do? She liked me. And that's all I need, is for someone to like me. I don't want you to buy from me.
Right.
And likes me for very good reasons. I'm genuine. I'm nice. Like, I'm not going to screw you over. So she referred me to someone who referred me to someone who referred me to someone. Goes all 4. And I'm very generous when I get referrals. I'll get you a gift because that's sweet.
You got to take care of it. Yeah.
And so I kind of targeted that side of it because I know what they like now. They love new construction. So I would go to new constructions and be like, 4-2, and they're giving $50,000 in flex cash. Beacon Lakes, come on over, guys.
Right.
So I would target that. I would market that, even though I don't have a buyer of that, and then I close.
All right. I'm going to define target here from the standpoint. Obviously, this was a physical target. It's someone in your eyebrow or nail place that you're going to, right? This is a physical person, so you're talking to them. But how do you target? Are you targeting in Instagram? Is there something you're doing special in Instagram?
Yeah, people want to see your face, not the house.
Right.
So what I do, I try to show my face all the time. I try to interact all the time. I target, most of my clients from Instagram are millennials or Gen Z. Like, it's our kind of from between 20 to like 40. That age group is huge on Instagram right now. And they're constantly scrolling because it's just what it is nowadays. And so they are able to buy because those are the people that are transitioning to other phases of their lives, of marriage or new jobs or just out of a
life,
divorce.
bigger life
even.
changes more rapidly than that period
Exactly.
of time.
So I tend to communicate with them. Like yesterday, for example, I posted a video saying, hey, like, do you guys think staging a house is important? And then I explained what staging a house is. And it's like, I put yes or no. And then like so many people replied and was like, oh, well, staging a house might not be important. And like people would reply, not just answer to the polls.
Right.
So that's kind of how I.
They're an active viewer. It sounds like you're targeting or trying to draw out that response, which then triggers the algorithm.
Yeah.
Hey, she's got people who are actually responding and being social on social media, right?
Right. And then that's one way I target those people. I target my Arabs through social media because I know what they like. I know where they like to live. I know what kind of ceilings they even like to have. I go to those houses. I make videos in those houses. I post them. I kind of like, I hate to use the word dumb it down, but I kind of dumb it down, like 5 bedroom, 3 bathrooms, this much and this many square feet and X amount of dollars. And I like put it very bold on the video that I take and I post, and I get some random person who's almost every single post I post. I get someone like, hey, where's this? And then I tell them, I'm like, who's looking? And I'll be like, oh, my uncle. I'll be like, oh, wait, I'm going to send you another one actually right next to it. It's so nice.
Do you think in your generation, your age group, because they're following you, they're seeing these things, and they might either already bought from you, maybe they're not even in the market, but whatever, they're still following you. But they are more apt to react when asked to in the social media. In other words, respond to a poll, etc.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interacting with them. It's so important on
Right.
social media. And I talk to the camera like I'm talking to you. And I had to build confidence for that. But it comes natural now. And sometimes I forget it goes on social media. Like people would see me in the street, be like, oh, I like your video. I'm like, oh, you saw that?
Remind me afterwards. I want to show you something on Instagram.
Yeah.
That I want to show you somebody that's doing something I think you could do very well.
Yeah.
Because I think my age group, who remembers when there wasn't even cell phones and email, let alone a computer.
Oh, you're young, Tracy. Come
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
Come on.
So we scroll through social media. We may watch the video. Now I respond because I have the shows on social media. So I'm responding as much as I are hearting, liking, all that kind of stuff. But a good portion, especially the older group, isn't necessarily, they might be watching, but they're not interacting. They're not being social on social media. Right? Where your group, your age 10 years before and after, they're more apt to engage and have a conversation, whether they know you or not.
Depends. Depends how you present
if they like
it.
you.
Depends how you present it.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go on there and be professional, nobody's going to reply to me. Like if I'm going to read from a script, be robotic, nobody wants to hear robots. We hear it on the news. We hear it in classrooms. We don't want that. Personal interactions. Like I'm literally just myself on social media.
Authentic is the word.
Very authentic, very original, very like I literally just go on there and act me. And a lot of times it's like funny, I guess. A lot of times it's, and like I get people from like, hey, where's your outfit from? Like that. I'm like, why? Are you buying real estate? if it's like something as fashion or like just, they call me the red bottoms girl at work. I'm not the red bottoms girl. I'm just a girl. But if you have a title, that means you're doing something right to attract people one way or another, whether it's how you dress or how you act or how you talk or like it's everything that you do. That's what attracts people. So that's what I try to put out on my social media. And I'm not just one person. Like I show them that, oh, I love clothes and dressing up. I love traveling. I interact with a lot of people about traveling. I love really $1 million houses. Like I love those high ceiling houses. So like, and the more you interact with them, everybody loves those things. Everybody wants to travel. Everybody wants $1 million house. So I try to relate. The more you relate to people, the more they trust you.
Well, being authentic makes you more approachable.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But to the point where I'm like a therapist now, and I'm like, guys, chill. Please, I need therapy. Like, chill. I love it. I do.
Transition a little bit because you are dealing with, in 19 years I've been in the mortgage business, and for 12 of them I was in a call center. So we have, behind the scenes, like any industry in sales, there are certain professions, certain cultures, certain things are somewhat descriptions or preemptors of what kind of buyer, seller, customer you're going to have. Right. We know our engineers are very analytical, right? They oftentimes, the joke is we got to give them a spreadsheet of everything so they can analyze a spreadsheet. Ministers and pastors, there's Our church people are another category. I won't get it. That's not a positive one, unfortunately.
Divorced people are a good category.
Divorce people.
Divorce lawyers.
But because of you have your cultural background from Syria, Arab, that kind of, and do you pick up being able to read the clients is an Arab customer that much difference than your standard Anglo-Saxon American like me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the things you pick up that you know how maybe you're going to treat them, speak to them, etc.?
First and foremost, they love confidentiality. That's English term.
Yeah.
They absolutely do not tell a single soul that you even communicated with me,
right?
Because we all know each other. So it's just
right.
That is the.
Well, I imagine that is a challenge because you are working in the same community.
Yeah, and it's the hardest.
So you got to let them.
Best friend buying, and you're around them the whole 30 days of the buying process. And I'm just like, okay, don't look at me, don't even talk to me, because I'm gonna talk about houses. And we're around all our friends group, and I have to keep it a secret, and it feels like I'm lying to my friends. Right. So definitely keeping it a secret is number one. Number two, how can I get a house without? Oh gosh.
They often want to haggle more, negotiate more.
Definitely. Yeah, but I've learned actually recently that it works. I used to be like, I can't offer $300,000 under asking. What are you talking about? And then I did, and then it worked, and I was like, what? And I did.
The market's changed.
Oh yeah. It was a $1.65 million house.
Yeah.
I offered 1.3. They accepted. But I mean, after a bunch of haggling, they were like, okay, fine, we'll go back to 1.3. Right. And I was like, wow, okay.
Right.
Okay, what? So they do like to haggle a lot more. I don't even think they could list the house at $2 million, and it could be worth $1 million, but as long as they get that
they think it's a deal. It's a deal.
It's a deal. And they love it. And of course I fight. I will fight till the death of me for my clients. So I will negotiate forever. And as long as my client is happy, that is all I care about at the end of the day. I want what's best for them. At the same time, I try to be fair to the other side and understand the other side. But yeah, haggling, definitely haggling. So yeah, confidentiality, haggle, patience, a lot of patience. I have to have a lot of patience with them and I'm the same way. It's just, I don't know if it's an Arab thing.
Is that part of the haggling, though, the kind of the silence for a period, some interaction with whatever it is they're asking for, and then they're going to sit back and just hold their cards for a little while, come close to their chest that
he'll be like, wait 30 days.
They
don't
want to show they're
again.
anxious. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to wait 30 days. And it's also oh, I love this house and this house and this house, but I don't want to make an offer. It's just kind of getting to understand what they're on about. What do you want? What do you, give me your end goal. Also getting them to trust a lender. That is so hard. So I have found an Arab lender that people tend to trust, and he will not pull your credit. And that's what most people are worried about, pulling my credit and I don't get pre-approved. So he's like, I won't pull your credit until you give me the green light, Nat. So when I give him the green light, hey, we want to make an offer, pull the credit.
Well, I'm gonna give a little hint, because I imagine some of your audience or some of your clients may listen to this. The reality is the money virtually comes almost in the same place. You may save a couple nickels, but don't step over the quarter to pick up the nickel. That is the joke on our side.
Right.
Because when we get that shopper that's calling everybody and anybody, and it's like, all right, are you going to commit or not? Are you going to close in 30 days? We need to get things going.
Yeah.
And they're calling, but oftentimes they're just setting themselves up for disappointment. What I always recommend, I say the buyers, and this is maybe something as a real estate agent who's listening right now, or you may take, you're recommending this gentleman because he gives those things that you talk, confidentiality, obviously, and so forth. But he has his pricing, but he's reliable. So as far right now, he's good. So hey, I'm good with this guy. He's always given me great service for all my previous people.
Right.
Go with him. The reality is every lender, obviously the quality of service is the individual, right? That person's giving good quality, but the pricing is the pricing that's set by the company. We have, as a loan officer, we have a little bit of leeway, whether we're going, but most loan officers just give you the house because we get paid the same. Right. It doesn't matter if we discount it a half a point or whatever we're allowed to do. We don't want to be beat by a rate. The reality is this: they can go and shop everybody till Sunday and get a quote, bring it back to that lender. 9 out of 10 times that lender will, as I'm sure this person, take it to a manager and say, hey, this guy needs another quarter point, needs an eighth in the interest rate, and they'll move forward.
Beat it.
Yeah, and they'll match and go. And that way they have the best interest rate and the best lender. Because I think they discount the lender and not realizing if there's going to be a horror story, you are going to wish you paid an extra eighth or quarter% in the interest rate in the end because of the stuff that could happen at the other end before you get to closing. That's the preaching. That's that I give anybody that's referred to. Just bring it to me. I'll go to management for you. It's no hair off my back. I'm going to. If they accept it, they accept it. I get paid the same. It doesn't matter to me. But I can give you this right now. It's what I'm allowed to do. It's the best I can do. Show me something better, and then I'll try to get a little bit more for you.
Right.
But that's
and that helps both sides. That helps my clients.
Yeah.
I always work in their favor. I'm never one to be like, no, you have to work with this lender. You have to work with this inspector. No, whatever you want, whatever is best for you, we're gonna do. Mm-hmm. If this inspector is just as good but is giving me $100 off, we're going with him. I mean, I'm loyal to my vendors, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, I work for the client.
Yeah.
And the client is my best friend for those 30 days, and I need what's best for them. Like, kudos to everyone working hard, but if it's not what's best for him, then I'm sorry, we're moving to another person. And I'm very honest. Like I will pick up the phone and be like, hey, your rates just were not it, so we chose another lender, even though I've done 30 transactions with him. And he's like, you know what, I respect you. Almost every time when you're honest with people, they're going to tell you I respect you if they're mature.
I've had some recently that, well, one came back to me because I was being truthful. I explained exactly what they shot. We're being aggressive on VA loans right now, so I knew what I was giving to him was super aggressive.
Right.
And another one hasn't come back yet. His game's not over yet, but
he'll come back.
But yeah, because he went to some mystery lender, and I'm like, dude, that is like way outside the boundaries.
And your closing costs are like cut in half, like how?
Yeah, just like what they're giving that. I said, dude, that's way out there, bro. You might find an eighth or maybe a half a point, maybe. But when they start going to a couple of points difference, nah, that's not happening.
I need to tell them that the net sheet that they give us, the closing sheet that the lender gives you when you first go talk to him, is not what you're going to get at closing.
Yeah.
And most clients don't understand that. And then and a lot of lenders lie. Like, this guy lied about the taxes. And I called him. I was like, listen, you do not lie to my client.
I need to do a video because the experience I have is I've had people come back and say, oh, he told me it's locked in for 45 days and gave me one of these worksheets. No. I said, first of all, if you've gotten to the level of actually locking in a loan, he's sending you the entire loan package because you can't lock in a loan until you have that entire loan set up and ready to go. Then you can lock it.
Send it to underwriting. Tell him to send it to underwriting right now.
You got to have all that stuff in there. You run your DU, all the little I's are dotted, T's are dotted, because the capital markets desk is going to approve that whether we're locking it. And they ain't locking it unless they think they actually have a deal, right? You just saying you can't just call the lock desk, say, hey, would you reserve this rate for this guy? Off nothing. So anyway, let's get back to real estate. Were you doing a buyer broker agreement before? No.
We started August 17th.
So you over the summer, you're starting to brush up on this. What are some of the things that you, because I imagine you've had some trial and error. I don't know how many you've done since the summertime, but have actually done the presentation. But what do you think if, again, one of these new agents who are asking, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing in your buyer broker agreement? What's the mindset you're going into that conversation with them?
I schedule a showing, and then I tell them, before the schedule showing, I tell them, hey, we have to have a buyer broker agreement. It's just an agreement between me and you that you're not using anyone else basically for today. Let's do it for today, because if you don't want to work with me tomorrow, I'm not going to make you work with me tomorrow.
Okay, so you do the subtle, we're going to date tonight.
Exactly. Yeah. We're not getting married. It's okay. You can work with me today because I'm showing you the house today. You don't want to work with me tomorrow, then I did something wrong, and please tell me what, because I would love to do better next time. And I have yet to have anyone not sign it, or tell me or not come back to me. And I have them sign it every time we do the showing, because I just.
Well, how long do you,
So I do it for the day, for the 24 hours.
Okay.
Prefer I wish I could do it for 6 months, and some my close friends, I'll do it for a year because they're not going anywhere else.
Right.
But people that I have not been working that long with, or opposite leads, or leads,
or just a cold referral that doesn't really know you, but through your friend.
Yeah. I don't I tell them whatever you're comfortable with, even if you want to do this for 3 months or 1 month, and it's at some point you tell me, hey, can we cancel this agreement? I don't want to buy, or I'm not comfortable with you. Please tell me. I am all about honesty and loyalty, and I will never want to work with someone who does not want to work with me, even if you're buying $5 million. That's my number one rule always. Even when I make it to $100 million a year, I don't want to work with anyone that doesn't want to work with me, because that is
well, you at that point you got stuff flowing in, and when you're doing that kind of money, you can't.
I'll remember you, Tracy.
You can brush a few off, but even for the agents who, this is the only person they're working with right at the moment in time, and they don't have anything happening in December or whatever, do that subtle part. So you do the 24-hour thing. Do you go back? You'll say maybe the week goes on, or you're still sending them before you go to the next day. Do you graduate them up to the married certificate there?
I essentially say, hey, let's make this agreement for a month, just so we don't have to keep writing ones, and I have to keep signing ones. And they'll be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, from the beginning, they would have said it's fine. I just need them to meet me face to face, and then they're sold. Yeah, I know they're sold. That's where my confidence comes in. I have yet to be rejected. You
like the face to face. That's your winner. If you got them in arm's reach, you're good.
Yeah, even a phone call. Like I don't do cold calling just because I hate people cold calling me, so I'm like, I don't want to cold call people. Right. But if there came a day and time where I did have to, and I was just, hey, please don't hang up. I hate when people cold call me, but listen to me for a second. And that's how I got them on the phone. And then now they want to sell their house with me, so it works. It's the same thing in person. Like, hey, I know you hate paperwork. I do too. I hate contracts, but this has to be. It's just a law, and I cannot defeat it. It's what it is.
How do you approach the actual? When you actually get down to actually filling that line, like they're going to pay you whatever bananas, right? That's whatever the agreement is. They're going to. Yeah. How do you approach them? Especially, I think the mindset from a lot of agents, especially the old school agents, is they still want the seller to ultimately pay for it, right? No one wants to take it out of the buyer's pocket. They already got down payment and closing costs and all those things already. How do you actually approach that? I had an agent tell me that they were talking to another agent and said that, this was the selling agent telling this agent that told me, the selling agent said, real estate agents don't get paid that much anymore. When they're really asking for closer to the 3% area, right?
Actually, I started getting paid more.
Yeah, that's what everyone. A lot of people have told me that.
Because now I'm like, well, listen, I've been working with this client for months, and they disagreed that you're giving me 2%. I want 3%. Yeah. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't. And I'm like, okay, well, let's kill a $600,000 deal over one extra percent. Yeah. And they're like, I'll take it to the seller. Yeah. And the seller is almost always like, oh, here's 3%. Right. And I can tell they're like envious about it in a way, but it's negotiation.
Do you find yourself spending a little bit more time now than say a year ago in the sense of explaining the services, or obviously some of your success stories, to some of the people who don't necessarily know you or know of a transaction you've done with a friend, but you got to, hey, this is what I'm going to do for you?
No.
You don't?
You
haven't enforced that situation yet.
No, I literally build relationships. Like, I want to be your friend before I want to be your agent. And literally, I get invites to sweet 16s. I get invites to baby showers. I get invites to housewarming parties, because I'm essentially their friend. Right. And I like, tell me your story. That's the first thing I say on the phone. Hey, tell me your story. Who are you? Where are you coming from? And so they trust me. When they're comfortable talking to me, they trust me. So they're never like, why should I sign this paper with you? Why should you get paid?
Well, are you good at explaining to them that when we make the offer, we're going to ask the seller to pay this?
Don't worry. I got you. I will never let you pay me. Yeah. I am going to make the seller pay me. Right. I got it. Right. And they'd be like, well, what if I have to pay the seller more? I got it. Listen to me. I got you. Yeah. And like, I got you goes a long way. Yeah. Just, I got you means like they trust you. They feel comfortable. They feel safe. And that's essentially what people want to do. They want to feel safe in the transaction. This is the biggest transaction of their lives. And as long as you make them feel safe, because truly I got them. I will never harm my clients.
That's not know, like, and trust thing. Yeah.
It's just, I got you. Like, just trust me. I got you. I can't
explain it. I mean, and ultimately when it comes down to it, I think a lot of people take this, they know, but you have to just step back and rethink. At the end of the day, when you get that contract signed, maybe there's some negotiation or something, but especially when that initial agreement, the buyer, that person and the seller have come to an agreement that that's what they're willing to buy and sell that house for. And the agents are setting it up and making the presentations, but ultimately when they sign the agreement, they're okay with it. They're not thinking, well, hold on a second. Did you bump up the offer to compensate? They forget all that. They, at this point, they're going, yeah, I accept that. And like I said, it goes back to that thing when you're talking about $600,000 purchase, we are talking about I mean, literally pennies when you're talking about the compensation part for either agent.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So your listing presentation, have you had, I know you're doing a lot of buying. Have you had a lot of listing situation? Okay. How are you approaching that, knowing what you're telling your buyers, right? You know what you're doing. A lot of agents are doing what you're talking about.
I don't even talk about commission. Is that weird?
Yeah.
I talk, tell them, hey, I'm going to do I'm going to market this all over my platforms, all over my social media. The MLS, I pay MLS dues. I'm going to market that. Open houses on me, pictures on me, videos, drones, marketing, everything I'm going to do for you. What you're going to do for me is you're going to allow me to enter your house whenever there's showings.
Keep it clean.
At your convenience. Yeah. You're going to keep your house clean, very clean. You do pay agent commissions of 6%. And then I keep going.
Yeah.
And then like I try to incorporate it in like my conversation. And then I'm like, hey, I'm going to send you the contract. If you have any questions, please call me. Let's work through it. And everything is negotiable. Right. Everything. You don't want to sell your washer and dryer? Let's negotiate. Because
you poured into them all the value. When you asked for it, they didn't blink. They're not blinking at it.
I push for 6%, like with my life.
Right.
I want the other agents.
So how are you advertising? Like, because obviously, you can put on your social media that you're offering, or when an agent calls you, are you right away saying, yeah, we have so much set aside, or are you one of the agents? I know one of the other tactics is now like, yes, we have compensation, but give me an offer.
Yeah,
you're asking 3%. For the offer. You're not just exposing that you have.
No,
right?
I hate vague.
Have you had agents undersell themselves?
In a way, like what? Tell me. Because I'll take less.
Yeah, like imagine if the seller agrees to pay 6% to everyone's commission, you're splitting it 3-3. Are you getting offers where agents are saying, and 2% for my commission? They're basically underselling themselves.
It's so that they can.
Well, basically lease 4 to you.
Lead. Basically what?
They lease 4 to you. They think they have to make the offer. So you have 6% set aside. You're the seller.
Right.
I'm the buyer's agent. You're like, we have some set aside, but make me an offer and we'll come in. So I write in my offer, hey, we're gonna buy it for this price, and your seller's gonna pay 2%, and I give it to you. And you're like, okay, well, I actually had 3% set aside. If you only want 2, no problem.
Actually, I have not had that because every single showing I have, like, hey, what's compensation? 3%. Oh, okay. Awesome.
So a lot of agents are asking and then open the negotiation back.
I have had it the other way around where I just goes on a house and the agent actually took 2% off of his commission so that he can make our deal work. But his listing contract was expiring at midnight. So he's like, it's either I get 1% or nothing. So I'm like,
Hey,
and
bingo.
He's like, Natalie, will you take 2%? I'm like, listen, I don't work for money. I work for a purpose way beyond financial independence, way beyond that. But I want my 2.5%. Like, I deserve it.
Well, you
got
to pay the fuel bill. I mean, you got to pay your car payment.
And he worked just as hard for it too. He knows.
Yeah.
But in his case, I was like, listen, there's 30,000 houses that I can go to, 18,000 houses I can go to and get 2.5%. We chose this house.
Is there 18,000 houses on the market right now in Northeast Florida?
Is 18,000.
That's like 3 times what it
was when I first started.
Yeah, it was like 5,000 or 6,000. It got down to at one point.
Last January of 2023 or February, and so he took a loss. And I mean, but he had to make the deal work. I would do the same thing. If I have a contract expiring at midnight and it's either this or nothing, I'm taking this, of course.
Yeah. So you didn't think you'd get him to renew it?
No. Yeah. No. Yeah. And he wouldn't have.
You got to do what you got to do.
Right.
3 things that you think all agents should be doing right now in the current marketplace at any level, new, tenured, whatever. 3 things that are important to be doing right now in this marketplace. Like
to generate business or just for your internal growth?
Well, no, all the above.
Okay, I follow like 6 steps, but I'm going to tell you 3 most important ones. Pick 2 ways to prospect, 100%. Pick 2 ways to prospect.
And pour into them.
And pour everything into them. It's okay to lose some money over it because you're going to essentially gain a lot back. Whether that's like with Zillow leads or with social media running ads or with your sphere or however, or door knocking. Or door knocking is not as much.
There's some people that do it.
Yeah, and it might work for them. Or cold calling. A lot of my friends cold call like FSBOs. Contact divorce lawyers and team up with them. By law, we're allowed to pay lawyers 50% of our commission if they refer us. So they're like one of the only professionals that we can pay the referral fees to, like mortgage brokers too.
Right.
So contact local lawyers and be like, hey, let's team up. Like, send me your divorced people that want to sell their houses and I'll give you 50%.
Right.
And no lawyer's going to say no to that.
Right.
Do things like I have a guy at my brokerage who goes to garage sales. He prospects there.
I know who it is.
I love that man. And there's so many ways to prospect. Join community groups. That's my next step, actually. That's my goal. I'm going to join community groups like Women in Business. Anything that has empowerment, because not only does it empower me and I empower others, it also is networking. It's the best way to network. It's a bunch of women and men in business. This is where we should be targeting. So definitely like joining community
Find your
groups.
niches and drill down on them.
Yes.
Step number 1. All right.
100%.
What's something else?
I wrote this down earlier. Talk to anyone and everyone. You don't even have to, don't ever tell people, hey, I'm a real estate agent, because then they're like, oh, here's another real estate agent. No, talk. I talk to anyone and everyone literally about anything. Tell me your story. Who are you? Like I asked you where your kids go to school, and I love that I know where your kids go to school. I feed off these things, and now I know there's a new school in St. John's that I didn't know about. So like, sorry to say this to the public, where your kids go to school. But
well, there are so many schools that you don't, if you're not running over them, which Liberty Pines is actually off the beaten path. There's no houses around it.
Yeah, but now someone tells me Liberty
not
Pines,
directly.
I'll be like, oh, I know where that is actually.
Yeah.
So just talk to anyone, hear people out, because you learn so much from other people that you don't even know you're learning. And then you start taking that into your own personal life and experiences. That's how you relate to people, and that's essentially how you grow your network and your net worth. The third thing, I pray. I pray a lot. Prayers definitely go a long way. They have helped me cope with certain situations, and they have helped me move past and grow in certain situations. Yeah. So those are all very important. You said consistency. Yes, but people need to know what to be consistent at to grow. Definitely open houses too. That was like 4 things, but do a lot of open houses. I have a lot of business generating from open houses.
We were just stay with that. All right, my last question. Talk about Herron Realty. We touched on it just a few moments ago. That light's on the timer, so I'm gonna flick the light on. But I want you to talk about if someone was another agent from outside of Herron, whatever, said, hey, I'm thinking about changing brokerages. Why should they go to Herron Realty?
Well, Herron provides, in my opinion, a healthy environment and workplace where we can be comfortable. We have a basketball net in a basketball little court thingy in our office. Like they provide the most comfort possible. Training. We have training every single month, almost every single day of the week, maybe like 3-4 times days a week, that is like targeted to help the agents grow. If you need anything, we have people that are there for paperwork, people that are there for marketing, people that are there for how to prospect. And so we have it all over there. I think there's some, and I want to differentiate because I think I know what the answer is. You've got to have, when you say like training and so forth, I think a lot of business offices, and I imagine this happens in real estate all the time, is they say, oh, we're going to train on this, and they go in there and they got someone just winging it. It's not structured, or, it's like going to a sales meeting when there's no agenda and everyone's like, hey, how you guys doing today? Or, why are we here? Because like you said, you like to work, you don't go in the office too often, but if there's a training there and you're going to go there and you're actually going to walk away with a nugget, you might go to the next one. If you go there and there's no agenda and there's just somebody up there speaking, go, well, you guys ask me questions and that's how I'm going to train you, is you guys ask me questions and I'm going to answer them. They're not prepared. Well, they have professionals that come to training that know exactly what they're talking about, what they're doing. And honestly, I needed commercial training. I texted David. I was like, hey, I need commercial training. He's like, all right, next Tuesday. I'll set it up. And then we'll have a class on it. We'll have a training meeting on it. Yeah. So anything that you feel like you need as an agent, as long as you just ask, they're going to provide it. And I assume that's like at every brokerage anyways. Like, I need training on this. Oh, yeah, let me train you on this. It's just a comfortable workplace. I'm very comfortable there, essentially drama-free since I started there. But also I stay away, so I'm not really sure. I'm speaking from my experience and myself. Like, I go in the office, do what I need to do, and leave. I need help, I pick up a phone, call David, and he may not answer me, but I'm going to ring until you answer me because I don't take no's. You always have someone essentially there for you because it's such a small brokerage. Everyone knows everyone. I did start with a group of women that we all started around the same time, and we stuck together, and we have a group chat called Closing Queens. And we just talk in there about like, hey, how do you do this or how do you do that? And we all help each other and we motivate each other. And like, you don't feel envy.
Right.
Nobody's in competition. And I like Herron because I'm competing with Natalie's last month, which is me, like my last month's stats. I'm not competing with anybody actually in this world, not just at Herron. And I like the lack of competition. Don't get me wrong, I like the motivation. I want to sit at the table with people that are millions of dollars of sales. I want to sit at that table. I don't essentially have to work at that brokerage to sit at that table because, again, I can talk to anyone and everyone, and they will talk to me because everyone that's doing better than you is going to give you advice.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's certainly, there are women's groups around. I don't know too many men's group, but the women are more apt to do it, where literally almost every one of them is from a different brokerage, and they go and have maybe a happy hour or whatever, but they're talking shop. Yeah. They're, I'm sure they're laughing about situations and they're crying about others, but they're trading those stories that helps you build the confidence, because you can only do so many transactions in any period of time. And I'm sure you found out, almost every transaction is a little bit different than the last one. A lot bit different.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Even my coach is from a different brokerage. It doesn't, like, your brokerage does not mean you can have to stay within your brokerage. And actually, if you do, I don't think people succeed within the brokerage. You have to expand. You have to see others and what others do and how they work and how their workflow is. Yeah. I think what's great at Herron is that David has a lot of leeway for us. So I'm like, hey, can I wholesale deals? Yes. Can I do off markets? Yes. And I'm very big with investors. Like, I follow stats like more than 50% of millennials look into real estate investments, and that's what I target, that 50%. Yeah. So, and he allows me and he helps me with it. And honestly, me and him learn together, because when you're a broker, they don't tell you, oh, this is how you wholesale. So like he's got to learn just as. Of course. And almost every broker doesn't know how to do wholesale. No. Wholesale is a whole different world. Yeah. But.
Anything you'd like to add?
No. Do you know what the cheapest state to buy real estate in?
The cheapest state to buy real estate in right now, I would say, would be.
You got this.
Wyoming.
Well, I started with a W, but absolutely not. It's West Virginia.
Oh, well, I skip over. Yeah, I would have. What's interesting about West Virginia is at times the federal government's tried to move, like the FBI for a while. I think they actually have a place. They try to get as many people outside of D.C. to go to West Virginia, but it was like pulling teeth. Not like everybody wanted to go out there because they could build a complex and cost of living was cheaper and all that other.
Yeah, but it's not like it's the cheapest, but it's not the best place to buy real estate. Like they measure the best place based off the job market and like the housing median rate, the price or something, and that is Pennsylvania. Actually, I love looking at stats and fun facts. That's like my daily thing. Fun facts about real estate.
Well, I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun, actually.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This may be it for today's episode of Real Estate Excellence, but we both know your pursuit of excellence doesn't stop here. To connect with the best of the best and really take your skills to the next level, join our community by visiting TracyHayesPodcast.com, where you'll meet more like-minded individuals looking to expand their inner circle and their personal experience. That's available at TracyHayesPodcast.com.